all just get a little bit giddy when movie and TV execs announce a live-action remake of our favorite cartoon? It's like our childhood dreams of seeing them in person just got more real.
That was awesome!
But let's face it, some of these reimaginings of well-loved characters are hit or miss. And instead of nostalgia, all they induce is nausea. Let's take a closer look at these 9 worst live-action remakes of popular cartoons. What's up, Factnatics? This is Discovery Amuse serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Our number 1 pick was helmed by one of the greatest suspense horror directors of our time, but still, it was panned so hard it makes you wonder how it was even pitched.
As far as I can tell, people don't mind if you take something they love and, tear it to pieces. You know what? That does sound like it makes sense. Let's do it.
Number 9. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Granted, the CGI versions of Alvin, Simon, and Theodore were so impossibly cute, but despite all the singing and dancing, the creators still managed to make the plot of the 2007 movie and the subsequent 2009 squeakquel so cliche and boring. They didn't take me to Funky Town, that's for sure. All the screechy, high-pitched singing sounded like someone auto-tuned the heck out of the soundtrack, but the satirical theme aimed at rock stars, the hype machine, and the music industry in general didn't quite land. The sequel fared a little better when the Chipmunks were forced to go to high school and win a competition to save the school's music program, but critics couldn't ignore the one-note human characters and Alvin's overall unlikability. Keep watching till number 1, cause that one deserved to fade into box office oblivion. Number 8, Bratz. If its measly 10% rating on Rotten Tomatoes is any indication, the 2007 American musical comedy, which brought to life the spunky girls from the popular toy and cartoon franchise, was injected with the least amount of bratitude possible.
Well, don't you look adorable? But you're not here to look adorable. You're here to work.
The tween flick did try to sprinkle some friendship and tolerance lessons in there, but ultimately these were overpowered by the girls' desire to do one very important task: shopping.
Everybody now, time to show the whole world.
Attempting to emulate the Disney movie musical blueprint, but ultimately falling short, the live-action version of the Bratz dolls indirectly glorifies vanity and commercialism despite its good intentions. One critic even called it Mean Girls without the irony. Pretty sure that's not a compliment.
Ew.
Number 7. Smurfs.
And if you are good, you may just catch a glimpse of the Smurfs.
The 2011 live-action film version of the cute Saturday morning cartoons is clearly made for the kids. While some say the mythical blue-tinged creatures are charming, others think they should have stayed in their magical land of mushrooms instead of escaping to New York from the evil wizard Gargamel. The younger audiences certainly ate it up, judging by the $563 million the first Smurfs movie made in the box office, but older moviegoers dismissed it as forgettable and so busy at being non-offensive that it barely evokes any reaction, much like a dull, hard-boiled egg.
On me, boys!
Let's get this whole damn started!
Too bad the star-studded cast, which included Neil Patrick Harris, Hank Azaria, Sofia Vergara, and even pop star Katy Perry as the voice of Smurfette, couldn't save the viewers from feeling a little blue.
Yeah, but your face is turning blue.
Number 6. Jem and the Holograms.
Jem is my name, no one else is the same.
The 2015 John M. Chu film was supposed to be lifted from the campy 80s animated show of the same title, but for some reason, it turned out to be more like a spiritual cousin to Hannah Montana, for better or for worse.
Because we got heart, me and you, me and you.
Hold on.
The neon inspiration and the sci-fi aspects of the original Hasbro cartoon were muted down. Instead, the remake treads the worn-out teen girl empowerment trope, which really isn't a bad thing, if only they took a different spin on it. The film became too concerned about taking the iconic band into the age of influencers and social media, while preaching about not sacrificing your values for stardom. The direction is also described by critics as a mixed bag at best. Uh-oh. Number 5. Yogi Bear!
Yogi Bear is smarter than the average bear.
After more than 50 years since it first aired on TV, the classic Hanna-Barbera character finally got its long-overdue live-action remake in 2010. Sadly, the big comeback of the dynamic duo of Yogi and Boo Boo mostly got booed by moviegoers.
It was a bad idea. Unlock me! Unlock me!
While Dan Aykroyd and Justin Timberlake's voice acting matched the wacky antics of the Ursine tandem, the story itself could have used more inspiration. Never mind the plot holes like how a mayor can sell a national park and all that stuff. Yogi isn't even his usual rude and roguish self, which longtime fans have come to love. Not to mention, the human characters might as well have been played by cardboard cutouts because viewers couldn't care less about them.
Yogi, you have to use your smarts for good. And if you can't see that, maybe you are just an average bear.
Nostalgia was arguably the main selling point of the film, but nostalgia with a few uninspired jokes do not a movie make.
Brown bears are also the national animal of Finland.
Number 4. Masters of the Universe. Which 80s kid doesn't know He-Man? The dude was like the ultimate macho man of our generation.
By the power of Grayskull.
Even now, there has been talk of reintroducing him after She-Ra made her return as a cartoon series. But while He-Man and the Masters of the Universe enjoyed massive success on the small screen, the same cannot be said about the live-action adaptation. For starters, He-Man's arch-enemy Skeletor looks more like a harmless cosplayer than a menacing villain. And He-Man barely wears anything for the entirety of the film. But what fans couldn't get behind was the jarring mix of screwball comedy and the choppy action sequences. And despite that, a movie critic still called the movie a Conan/Star Wars hybrid ripoff that's a colossal bore.
Let this be our final battle!
However, despite it being a major flop when it first screened in 1987, Masters of the Universe is now being regarded as a cult classic. Perhaps it does deserve a second look. Number 3. The Flintstones.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones.
If there's one good thing critics agree on about the 1994 adaptation of our beloved modern Stone Age family from the town of Bedrock, it's that the production design team spared no expense, from the animatronics and puppets to the costumes and set design. Unfortunately, everything else was yabba dabba don't.
Wugga wugga wing! Picky picky picky! Pokey pokey pokey!
Despite the impressive impersonation of the main characters, the bland plot was riddled with lame puns and sexist jokes and severely lacks wit and genuine gags.
Personal secretary, Mr. Flintstone. That is, of course, if you want me.
But as if one bad Flintstone movie isn't enough, the movie gods threw in a prequel in 2000, which was a bit of an improvement from the previous film, and not much else. Behind the bright lights and spectacular production, there's barely any plot to speak of.
Sorry, no substitutions.
Oh, no,
Number 2. Dragon Ball Evolution. If you're brave enough to adapt a well-beloved anime that has a huge hardcore following, then you better do it right. However, all the negative word of mouth proved to be the final nail in the coffin of the 2009 action fantasy flick Dragon Ball Evolution. Yep, that's the same scream the movie induced on moviegoers, albeit out of frustration. While the battle scenes were pretty decent, Justin Chatwin, the actor who played Goku, looked a decade too old for the role. The adaptation also lacked in visual and narrative coherence, and it seemed as though filmmaker James Wong was too busy with making the movie as westernized as possible. If only I had a Dragon Ball for everything that's wrong with this adaptation.
What?
Go.
Before we go to our number one pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app's settings. Number 1, The Last Airbender.
But I believe Aang can save the world.
Once upon a time, the fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender lived in harmony. But everything changed when M. Night Shyamalan and his atrocious live-action adaptation attacked. It's truly mind-bending how someone can take this incredible iconic piece of pop culture and rake it through the mud. The whitewashing of the cast is almost criminal, considering that the cartoon is mainly centered on East Asian cultures with some South Asian, New World, and Inuit and Cyreniki influences. The actors don't even seem to know how to pronounce their names properly.
We are now the gods.
The script also crammed so many episodes of the cartoon into a 90-minute mess. I didn't know we were going to be watching some dance showdown instead of element bending, and yet here we are. So, which of these did you regret watching on the big screen? Or maybe you actually enjoyed them, no judgment? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Now we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to make way for the 10 weirdest commercials from all over the world. Till then, keep calm and watch more movies, Facnatics, and we'll see you in our next video.